In the year 1984, something strange was going on in the neighborhood. But the question was, who are you gonna call? That's right, Ghostbusters. So in order to prepare for the brand new Ghostbusters film Frozen Empire, I stopped off at my local video store and I rented the original classic, Ghostbusters. I'm Kevin Porter, and you're watching Video Rental Chaos. Well, I'll tell you something, I ain't afraid of no ghosts. This might be the most anticipated episode of Video Rental Chaos. Ghostbusters was an institution in my childhood and many others born in the 1980s. With the recent success of the new entries into the franchise, people are still hungry for Ghostbusters. So, let's find the gatekeeper and kick this episode off right. The movie starts off at a local public library in New York City. The librarian is haunted by one pretty scary ghost. They call in the help of Peter Venkman, Ray, and Egon as they come in to help figure out what the hell is going on. They track down the ghost only to be scared off themselves. Once upon returning, they find out real quick that the dean has canned them all from Columbia University. Well, they bounce back with creating a brand new business called Ghostbusters. Luckily for them, a local woman by the name of Dana Barrett is caught off guard one day in her apartment as she is visited by a demonic dog-like creature that was in her fridge. The thing only spoke one word, Zool. The Ghostbusters dive in to find out what Zool is and find out the blueprint for Dana's building. Peter goes back with Dana to the building as he tries to nail her down for a date. While she is slightly amused, she declines and nothing else is found in the apartment at that time. The Ghostbusters get a late night call to remove probably the most famous ghost of them all, Slimer, from the Sedgwick Hotel. Never having tested the equipment at this point, they go into the ballroom determined to catch Slimer. They are able to successfully trap Slimer and deposit the dude back at the Echo Containment Unit. Going right alongside the strange events at Dana's apartment building, there is a big uptick in supernatural events in New York City. Being in such high demand forces the boys to hire a fourth Ghostbuster. Enter Winston, as he gets the job right on the spot. Peter drops off the news to Dana about Zool being a demigod worshipped as a servant of Gozer, the Gozerian, an old-school shape-shifting god of destruction. They agree to meet up that night at her apartment to discuss Gozer even more. With all this brand new fame, it sure does attract the attention of the EPA, specifically Walter Peck. He shows up to the Ghostbusters building and wants to check out all the equipment, but Peter lets the dude know that he needs a court order as he ain't seen nothing today. Egon lets them know that with the uptick in ghosts in the city, that the Ecto Containment Center was going to be full in no time. Once Dana makes it back to her apartment, she is stopped again by her neighbor, Lewis, who wants her to come over to the party. Once back in her apartment, Dana is possessed by Zool. At the same time, Lewis is possessed by Vince, the Keymaster. Peter shows up to Dana's apartment after all the chaos occurred. He does find that Dana is possessed by Zool, who is now claiming to be the gatekeeper. The Ghostbusters are soon visited by the New York City Police Department, who want to drop off Lewis as he's acting a bit loony since being possessed by the Keymaster. Egon and Peter soon link up on the phone and discover each other's dilemma. It is decided that they will not get these two together and that Peter needs to return back to the building. During this time, Peck returns to the building with a court order for the Ghostbusters to stop business at once. A big argument breaks out and ultimately they shut down the Echo container. All hell breaks loose as a large explosion occurs, releasing all the ghosts back into New York City. Unfortunately, the Ghostbusters are then arrested on the spot. Lewis is back on the streets and makes his way to Dana's apartment, where the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper finally meet. In jail, both Egon and Ray break down what they discovered about the building. It was built by Ivo Shandor, who was a leader of the Gozer worshipping cult in the early 20th century. They designed the building to be used as an antenna to attract spiritual energy in order to summon the demigod and bring about the end of the world. The city is being ravaged by ghosts and spiritual events. The mayor releases the Ghostbusters and brings them to his office. It is decided that based on the events that were ongoing, it was in the best interest of New York City to allow the Ghostbusters to fight this Gozer demigod. The boys are here to save the day as they get a police and army escort to the haunted building. They make it to Dana's apartment and find a hidden temple above it. That's where they find both the gatekeeper and the keymaster opening the gates between the dimensions. And then they turn back into these demonic dogs. Gozer is here in New York City and is a girl? She attacks the Ghostbusters and tries to kill them right off the bat. They begin their comeback, but Gozer's voice says to them, they must choose the form of the destructor. They try to keep their minds clear, but Ray fucked up and thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow. This huge monster comes down the street towards the building, and the Ghostbusters light it the fuck up. Egon uses quick thinking that they can cross the streams despite what he said earlier, and this will destroy the gate and send Gozer back to where it came from. They blaze it up, and you think that just for a moment that they're all dead. But fortunately, they all live and discover that so did Dana and Lewis. They make their way back down the building and leave through a crowd of happy New Yorkers, as the Ghostbusters have saved us from Gozer and the end of the world. The original Ghostbusters is the best of the series, period. The sequels are fun in their own way, but after rewatching this film for the first time in several years, I fell back in love with it all over again. You have Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd who wrote the screenplay, Ivan Reitman producing and directing, plus you add Bill Murray into this film. That's one hell of a time, ladies and gentlemen. I know the long rumor was that if John Belushi had not died, he would have taken the role of Peter Venkman. While we'll never know how that would have turned out, it's fair to say that having Bill Murray cast was the right move. Like I said earlier, I was obsessed with Ghostbusters as a kid. I had all the toys and watched the cartoon also. I do plan on seeing Frozen Empire, as I really did enjoy Afterlife back in 2021. It seems they are back on track to continuing on with the legacy of the Ghostbusters. So leave me a comment on what your thoughts are on the Ghostbuster franchise. And until next time, I'll see you at the video store.